Hi guys and welcome to JanQuest. Today we're bringing you a brand new deck profile from Paldea Evolved, and that is the Ting-Lu EX. So this is a really degenerate strategy that turns off your opponent's Pokemon's abilities as long as it's not an EX when it has damage counters on and Ting-Lu is in the active spot. So without further ado, let's get to the deck profile. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as we post regular content and it really does help us out. Drop us a like if you enjoy this video. Let's get straight into it, and we play 4 copies of the main card in the deck, which is the brand new Ting-Lu EX that released in Paldea Evolved. So it's got 240 HP, which is pretty bulky for a basic Pokemon. This is a really degenerate card and the poster boy of the deck with its Cursed Land ability, so any of your opponent's Pokemon with damage counters on while this is in the active slot have their abilities turned off, excluding EX. We're still in quite a new period of the EX era, so Vs, V-Stars, V-Max is still very prevalent, and then obviously any one prize Pokemon on top of it. And it hits for 150 for 3 energy with Land Scoop, so ideally you want to get 3 energies on this turn 1, which will show you how you accomplish that. And on top of the 150 damage, it also puts 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so you attack for 150 and then you do the extra 20 basically to turn off another Pokemon's abilities and just lock your opponent down even more. One downside is we have a very steep retreat cost of 4, so we'll show you how we kind of try and play around that, but a very strong and unfair card that can turn off a multitude of strong cards like Comfeys, Lugia V-Stars, Arceus V-Stars, etc. So to get the Magic 3 energy on turn 1, we play 2 copies of the Koraidon EX and 1 Squawkabilly. So the idea is to be able to get cards into your discard pile on your first turn. So once you've attached for turn, if you can get 2 more discard, which the Squawkabilly helps with massively, being able to put this on your bench, use it whenever you want, which is really nice, unlike the Crobats, Luminions, etc. we've had before. So Nest Ball works with this, set up how you want and then discard your hand. And then with Koraidon, you end your turn with Dino Cry to attach 2 fighting energy, however you like, to your Pokemon. So with this you can get the Magic 3 numbers. It also has 230 HP, and with Wild Impact it can hit for 220. Can't attack the next turn, but the 220 is like a perfect KO on quite a lot of things, notably things like Chiampao. So to round off the Pokemon, we play 2 copies of the Hawlucha, which released in Scarlet and Violet. So when you bench this, you can place a damage counter on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, just to turn off the abilities of 2 more of their Pokemon. We play the Spiritomb, which is a new card from Paldea Evolved. So this turns off the abilities of all basic Pokemon V. We don't play any in our deck, so it doesn't hinder us in any way, but this just turns off all the fleet-footed abilities of the legendary beasts, and most notably Genesect. And then we also play a really strong card in Radiant Alakazam. So once a turn you can move up to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of your opponent's Pokemon, including the active. So this is really good in situations where when you attack you would overkill their Pokemon. So say if they've only got 50 HP left and you're hitting for 150, rather than waste that damage you can move it to one of the bench Pokemon, or you can move it around for multiple knockouts in a turn. You've also got the Hawlucha damage, so if you've got damage on something that doesn't have an ability or one that's not relevant, then you can move it to something else with Alakazam. So this just adds a lot of potential for the deck. Really strong card. Onto the item cards, we play 4 copies of Nest Ball and 4 copies of Ultra Ball. So you just want to set up as quickly as you can. The deck sort of needs to combo by getting the Ting-Lu and Koraidon out turn 1, plus getting the energies in the discard, which Ultra Ball can help with, and potentially might even also need the Squawkabilly. So you do need to be able to grab your Pokemon. So this just works really well in terms of consistency. And then we also play 1 copy of the Hisuian Heavy Ball. It's just nice having access to your prize cards if you need to set up that way, especially Squawkabilly, as we only play 1. I did test playing 2, but it's just a brick later on in the game. I feel that playing the Heavy Ball is enough. Another point I'll make as well is I did test playing just the 3 Ting-Lu. You don't need a 4th in terms of actually grinding, but it's just the consistency that's missed setting up where you really want to open it in your active spot, so I definitely would recommend playing 4. And then next on to the rest of our items, and we play 4 copies of Gutsy Pickaxe and 4 copies of Trekking Shoes. So very similar cards, but Gutsy Pickaxe is obviously tailored to fighting decks, so pick up the top card of your deck, and if it's a fighting energy you can attach it to one of your bench Pokemon however you like, and if not, add it to your hand. And Trekking Shoes, look at the top card, if you don't like it, discard it, and then draw another one. So these help in terms of fixing out your consistency, as it makes it like you're playing a 52 card deck. The trekking shoes can also help to discard energies early on to set up your Koraidon plays, and the gutsy pickaxe is really good energy acceleration in terms of being able to keep pressure on if one of your Pokemon's going to be knocked out. You've always got something to move out into the active spot and attack with. So finishing off the items, we spoke about the high retreat cost in the deck, so we do play 3 escape rope. This can unclog your board, and it obviously has the gust ability, being able to pull out one of your opponent's Pokemon as well, and then spread damage across their board as per the game plan. We also play 1 copy of Lost Vacuums. This just helps remove any pesky stadiums or tool cards, and even though we are a floodgate deck, it's nice to have an out to things like Path to the Peak, because they can drop that and it'll turn off your Ting-Lu, and then that might allow their non-rulebox Pokemon the ability to play. They might get their Bibarrels in play and their Baxcaliburs and just pop off that way. We play 3 tools, play 2 copies of the Bravery Charm, which is a Cape of Toughness reprint, increases the HP of your basic Pokemon by 50. And we also play the EXP share, so we like to pop this on a bench Ting-Lu, and then we've always got a degree of recovery with the energy, because the 3 energy cost is fairly high. It's also worth noting it's really important to always have a second Ting-Lu on your bench, which then makes you protected against their escape rope, as if they drop the escape rope then you can switch into another one and maintain the lock. I think there's 2 different options you can go with stadiums, but we've gone with Gapejaw Bog. I think this is amazingly strong going first, is if you can set this up and have your Ting-Lu in the active, then everything that they bench is basically going to have their abilities turned off unless they can get to a stadium of their own. It obviously just puts more damage counters on the board as well, leading to easier knockouts. The other option you could play with is the Pokestop, because I think that adds more consistency, getting to your turn 1 3 energies for the Ting-Lu to get the attack off, but it also has a degree of risk with it as well, because you may be milling a Squawkabilly or a Koraidon or something. But Gatejaw Bog I've really liked when I've tested it, very degenerate card. Onto the supporters, we play 3 copies of Professor's Research. This card is amazing going second, as it loads up your discard with energies and just refills your hand. Don't need to say a lot about it, just the draw 7 is crazy. And then we play 3 copies of Iono, which is a brand new card from Paldea Evolved. I'm sure you know what it does, but it's kind of a mashup of Marnie and N. So shuffle your hands and then put it to the bottom of the deck, and you each draw cards equal to the number of prize cards that you've got left. This is a great early game consistency card, and it also doubles as a form of disruption. Because you take multiple prizes in a turn as well, even without a built-in draw engine, you can be sort of protected against Iono, leaving yourself enough prizes that you can take, say 3, 4 in a turn, where you're not going to get hand looped. And then we also just play 1 of the Good Old Judge. So on top of that, we play Boss's Orders for the Gusting ability. If you can brick them for a turn, it's really strong as well. If they can't attack, they can't retreat, etc., because you're also doing the bench damage and you're also turning off their abilities. It's one of those decks that snowballs. I think they don't realise how strong it is early on, but when things like Greninjas, Bibarrels aren't being able to use their abilities, they can be really stuck for options. And then we also play Serena. This is something I put in because I felt it synergised with the discards for the energies, and you can also drag out things like the Luminion to take the KO after it's had, say, a Gapejaw Bog and a Hawlucha dropped on it, taking a KO. Just really good. And one of the spicy cards we play is 1 copy of Penny. With Penny, you can pick up one of your basic Pokemon, which are all basic Pokemon, and all attached cards. So when one of your Ting-Lus is close to being knocked out, you can drop the Penny, scoop it back up again with the energies, with the Bravery Charm, switch the other Ting-Lu in, and then start setting that one up with the extra 50 HP, and in a lot of their cases that will win you a game if your opponent can't hit hard enough. It's also really good for being able to pick up Hawluchas. It's very situational, but you may want to, and I think against things like Lost Box, which are going to be wanting to chip away at things, Penny's going to be a very frustrating card. And to finish it off, we just play 11 copies of the basic Fighting Energy. It's a ratio that I've kind of tested, and I feel that this is enough energies without clogging up the deck. You do play the 4 pickaxe, so it gives you a pretty good chance of hitting them, and I feel that you can consistently get these into the discard for your Koraidon. So that is the Ting-Lu deck profile. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. I expect it to be a deck that sees a fair amount of play. It's not going to be a S tier or a top tier deck, but it's a very strong rogue deck. Do not underestimate this deck by any means. It has one of the strongest and most unfair abilities in the game. So whether you want to play the deck or you need to learn how to play against it, it's definitely worthwhile knowing what this card does. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure you've subscribed to the channel. Leave a like if you've enjoyed the video, it really does help us out. Tell me what you think about the deck in the comments, anything you'd add, anything you'd take away. And thank you very much. We'll see you again soon.